We live in an age in which everybody knows their rights. You go into school and there's some issue, parents know their rights, and they will tell the teachers and the head teacher, "You can't do that to me. I know my rights." Even children will say, "You can't do that to me. I'll ring Childline. I know my rights." And we see every day in the newspapers that gay people have rights, transgender people have rights. Everybody knows their rights. Do we know our rights as Christians? Do we know our rights as baptized people of God? Because once you are baptized, you inherit many rights. And the first of those rights is you have the right to be called a child of God, with all the privileges that that entails. I'm not saying that the rights of the world shouldn't be upheld. Of course they should. It's good that people know their rights. But I think it's sad that as Christians, we don't know ours. You have the right to receive Holy Communion if you've reached a certain age, if you live in the grace of God. You have the right to receive God's forgiveness. You have the right to be married in church. You have the right to make your wishes known to the priests and the bishops. You have the right to take part in the governance of the church, although often with most priests you wouldn't know it. But that right is there. You have the right to be heard, the right to defend your good name, the right to be called a person who is upstanding. How many of us know that these are our rights which we get directly from baptism? Because you are baptized, you have rights. But again, in this age of rights, we know what we can ask for. We don't know what we should give. Because along with rights, both in the world and in the church, comes responsibility as well. Responsibility to treat our brothers and sisters with respect. The responsibility to try to uphold others' rights. The responsibility to listen. The responsibility to give. We see all of these things in the life of Christ. As he was baptized and went into his public ministry, he respected, he listened, he healed, he gave. Each one of us has to be Christ-like, because when we are baptized into Christ. We become Christ for the world. And so we have to know our responsibilities as well as our rights. Not only do you have the right to be married in church, you have the duty to be married in church. Not only do you have a right to the Eucharist, you have the duty to go at least once a year. Not only do you have the right to forgiveness, you have the duty to ask for it. You have the duty to contribute to keeping up the parish. If you're going to make your wishes known, then you have the duty to help the priest carry them out. Everything is relationship. Our relationship with God, our relationship with each other. And our relationship is made more complicated and deeper by our baptism. We should know when we were baptized. We should know where we were baptized. We should know who baptized us, because it helps in our identity. Because just as our parents gave us a name that they thought would suit us, so too baptism gives us a character that God thinks will suit us. And how much more important is that? So let us not live simply in an age of rights, but let us live also in an age in which we recognise our responsibilities. The greatest right is to be called a child of God. The greatest duty is to make the fact that you're a child of God known to other people. You cannot be a Christian without being an evangelist, without being a missionary. Pope Francis is constantly saying the only way to renew the church is to become a people who are missionary, to change, to go out, and to begin ministering just as Jesus did. Jesus didn't do it just by preaching. He did it by his actions, by the way he listened, by the things that he gave. I know often for English Catholics in particular, Going out and knocking on doors is impossible. But going out and being nice, being kind to people, showing them the love of God in action is possible for us all. So let us become aware of the dignity of our baptism. Let us become aware of who we are as Christians. We are mini Christs for our world, and so let us be like him, ministering and receiving just as he did.